Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into another edition of the JP Peterson Show on this Tuesday. Lots going on here in Tampa Bay. We got a little hockey game tonight. The Dallas Stars in town. Of course, I'll be working over at Amalie Arena doing my Lightning thing tonight. And we got still a lot to talk about for the Bucs visit to Germany. Kasey Hudson from the Pewter Report was there. So she's going to join us at 11:15. TJ Rives, Bucs sideline guy, was there. He's going to join us at 11:35. So we got that covered. Tom Brady had some interesting comments last night on his Let's Go podcast. We got that covered. We're going to give that to you. Some interesting stuff from TJ interviewing Roger Goodell on the pregame show, courtesy of Buccaneers Radio. We're going to get you that as well. And we're going to talk some Rays, Rule 5 day. They've got some roster cuts, maybe some trades to make today. Everybody's all excited. We're going to make a big trade, get all these big name boppers and stuff. Yeah, no. You want Freddie Freeman, you get David Peralta, and that's what you get. You'll take it and like it. That's what Stu says to you Rays fans. And good morning to you, Nick Geddes from Outsider.com. How are you?
I'm doing well. I mean, we didn't get this far into the show, and you already have gone on a semi little Rays thing there.
Oh, was that a semi thing?
I don't want to call it. I didn't call it a rant, but just
that'll be later.
You're just setting everybody.
That'll be later.
You're just getting everybody in line there.
Make the trade and send Tyler Glass now to the Cubs for a couple slapdick prospects, and we'll be good to go.
Although I tell you what, though, I had a lot of people texting me yesterday, and I was or people that I was hanging out with too, asking what's going on with the Rays, and I gave them an exact scenario that you said yesterday about why Tyler Glasnow, it's possible that he would get moved, and they all bought it.
Of course.
They all bought it. It's plausible.
Well, that's what when you have a guy like a David Price or a Blake Snell, this is the way they view these players this is a gold mine. Chris Archer, this is a gold mine. We're going to trade this highly desired pitcher. Of course, in the Archer trade, I don't know how they got that whole deal done, but they see these guys as commodities that they can send to other teams and make them more competitive. And then we get the good prospects back. And we always get really good prospects back who are going to keep you competitive at a lower price. So that's how in essence, that's how Stu plays Moneyball. The original Moneyball was actually, winning on the cheap, which obviously Stu has been able to do. We give him full credit for that. They've been able to get that formula down. They can win in the regular season, but winning in the postseason is a totally different deal. As we always quote the great John Smoltz on this show, it's going to take a little bit more than, I'm paraphrasing here. The Rays have figured out the regular season. It's going to take a little bit more to win in the postseason. And that means spending more money, getting legitimate hitters, big time boppers to put in your lineup to compete with the Astros and everybody else. So that's just the way it's going to be. And until they do that, and they can't afford it. They absolutely can afford it. They have the money with the new TV deal. All the money, a lot of that money got paid up front to Stu Sternberg. So he's sitting on a pile of cash. He's got the money to do it. He's always said he would put it back into the team. We haven't seen it. So that's the truth. That is what it is. So we'll see what happens to the Rays today if something happens. But I would quell your enthusiasm, Rays fans, for any big names or big boppers coming this way. I hope I'm wrong. I'm just basing this off, a decade plus of what the Rays have done under Stu Sternberg. And they've never had a payroll over, I think they got a little over $80 million this past year. But they've never had one higher than that, and typically in the bottom fifth of the league. So that as your background, and the fact that, but the difference is that the Rays have a lot more cash on hand now, a ton more cash on hand. They have the ability to do it. That's undeniable. That is undeniable. So people that are still saying, oh, we're a small market team, we can't afford the players. Not true. Not true at all. We can afford it. It's the owner that chooses not to spend the money. So that narrative needs to be the true narrative, not the narrative that has been put out in what I would call the mainstream media. And you can go look it up in the lawsuit and see for yourself. And it's all there. The money is there, and we'll see if they use it. Probably not. All right. The Buccaneers win over the Seattle Seahawks is still fresh in our mind as we turn to an open date, but we're gonna savor this one a little bit more because I do think it has the opportunity to be a seminal moment in this particular season. It was interesting. Greg Auman put up on his Twitter today that people are talking about. I think Brady even mentioned it. We may hear him talk about this in the podcast, that he would love to hear Bucs fans singing "Country Road" as maybe maybe going into the fourth quarter. And I think that would kind of be a nice ode to Germany, to the German game, especially if we take this win and go on a run. If the Bucs take this win and go on a run, I think that would be really cool to kind of remind us of that game in Germany that kind of switched everything around. The team bonded together. The Devin White situation, everything came together. They started Rashad White because of a passport issue. Nick Leverett being much better. Devin White being his best self. I mean, all those things happened. And could this lead to a run to the Super Bowl? Absolutely. The Bucs have the personnel to do it. There's no question about that. Whether they have the coaching and the game management to do it remains to be seen. Whether they can keep this effort up, and you'll hear Brady talk about the effort of preparation, the effort in the game. If they can keep this type of mentality going, there's no reason the Bucs can't do this. You saw Philadelphia last night. Did that look like a team that the Bucs couldn't beat? The Commodes went into Philadelphia and beat the Eagles. They're the standard bearer for the NFC. They're the best team in the NFC. They were undefeated. And the Commodes went in there and took care of business. The great Taylor Heineke, my man, drinking Busch Light on the plane, brother.
I was gonna say
now he's your favorite player.
Yeah, now he's my favorite player.
Busch
I was like, I've probably been a bit hard on Taylor Heineke, but he dropped one of the most beautiful balls I've ever seen. Terry McLaurin down the sideline. How about that? And then he's drinking Busch Lights on the beer, and he looked like Fitzpatrick when he was with the Bucs. He had all the bling bling around his neck as he's just pounding Busch Lights. And I was like, that's my kind of guy right there.
Very Fitz-esque.
My kind of guy right there. But you mentioned that if you're comparing the Bucs to the Eagles directly, the formula was there last night. You got to run the freaking ball on that team. And
boy, did Washington
do it. The time of possession, I've never seen a game that lopsided, honestly, especially from a team that's undefeated going in. And
did you see the size of the Commodes offensive line?
There's some big boys there.
Whew. And they know how to use them.
Yes, they did. Yeah. And Brian Robinson, picking up yards. Gibson picking up yards.
That touchdown that Robinson scored where he reached over, man, that was
just effort.
That was effort level.
It's effort. So, but relating that to the Bucs,
just got shot and wants to prove himself.
Yeah, he's playing. Michael Thomas isn't, but interesting there. But anyway, no, that's obviously the recipe that you're gonna have to use to beat that in the Bucs. Listen, they've done it 2 times this year where they've been able to run the ball with any sort of efficiency. So clearly, though, when they do it, they win the game. So I think that's probably going to be the formula moving forward if they found something here with Rashad White.
And if they can get Ryan Jensen back, as they are planning to do or have planned to do, boy, how much better is your offensive line then?
Yeah, an offensive line from a pass pro standpoint, I think they've given up the least amount of sacks in the NFL. Now, part of that is the fact that Brady has been getting rid of it very quickly, but this last 2 games, I think the protection has just been damn good.
The pocket has been extremely good and much better than it was, obviously, with Luke Gedeke in here. And we're going to play Todd Bowles a little bit later on, where he is asked about Nick Leverett, and just like Byron Leftwich last week, they gloss Nick Everett and say Leverett how great he's doing, and then they go, but we'll evaluate the position when Luke is healthy. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I just don't get that whatsoever. I don't know why they just cannot say, hey, Nick has earned the job. He's won the job. Why can't you just say that? It's evident on the tape. Why can I not say that?
Nick Leverett was trending on Twitter
yesterday. Luke Gedeke was the worst rated guard. If you need PFF, it's there for you. But if you just turn on the tape, the dude was the worst rated guard in the league. Yeah. This dude's one of the highest rated guard in the league. And you still can't commit to him? This is an issue. This is a major issue with this coaching staff. It took everybody and his brother, all the idiots here and you idiot fans, you don't get paid millions of dollars to coach his team and aren't there at practice every day, can see that Rashad White is head and shoulders over Leonard Fournette. And it took a passport issue for you to start him. That's a problem with this coaching staff. And as we, I was on Twitter with Greg Auman this morning talking about this because he put out something that, Tom Brady said that he wanted to catch a pass in Germany. That would have been cool for me to catch a pass in Germany. And it's like, okay, so we put in the play for that to happen. That's fine. And then we go back to the play, and it's clearly not open. I mean, Leonard Fournette should not have thrown the ball, but that play should never have been called. That play should never have been called. Well, I'll tell you, it's fine to call it. But if the guy goes out there, I take that back. In that situation, it's not fine to call it. You're running the football down the field at 8-9 yards a clip. You're throwing to wide open guys. You clearly have Seattle's defense on the run, on the heels. You're up 2 scores. You can go up 3 scores and put the game away in the third quarter? Late third quarter. You put the game away. You don't call that play at that particular time. I don't care how much Tom Brady wants to catch a pass in Germany. I don't want to make a huge deal out of it, but this is the time where there should be an adult in the room. You think Belichick is signing off on that in that situation? Hell no. Most coaches are not. They're like, hey, I know Tommy wants to catch a pass in Germany. Let's wait till the fourth quarter. We can go back to it then. Not now. Not now. This is not the time to do it. And if Devin White doesn't punch that ball out, that play directly could have led to a loss in a game that you should not have even come close to losing. So just because the outcome is good, you won the game, does not change the analysis of that particular play. And that was – and they can – like you said yesterday, they can joke about it and blah, blah, blah. That's not a joking matter. That was a horrific call, and it appears it was done to please Tom Brady, who wanted to catch a pass in Germany.
Yeah,
Come on. Come on.
I get the sentiment.
What are we doing?
I get it. It's his first and last trip to Germany in the NFL. I get all that. He wants to make it special, but it was already special. There was no need to go that far. As we've talked about already, you don't want your 45-year-old quarterback getting hit by a defensive lineman, but I want him running routes on a field, by the way, that everybody was slipping and sliding on to begin with.
Thank you.
I mean, I don't know how many more points you can bring up about this, of how this was like one of the worst play calls that you could ever call in that moment. I firmly believe that if the Bucs just play normal offense there, they were rolling, they had found something, they probably score 7, at least 3 at that point, right?
I think it was 21-3 at that point.
It was around there. I think it might have been 21-9, actually. But, I mean, the point being, though, you probably score 7 there, at least 3, and you win the game by 2 scores. Now, in the grand scheme of things, am I nitpicking here because a win's a win?
I don't think it's nitpicking. I think the outcome of the game should not change the analysis of individual plays in context, obviously.
I guess we did this the week prior, right?
Yeah, against Atlanta.
Against Los Angeles, with a coaching decision where Todd Bowles didn't challenge the play.
Right.
And then it ended up working out, but you kind of have to judge it in the moment, right?
Exactly.
So I guess that's what you're doing here.
Yeah, and yes, they won, and there's far more positives than negatives, right? But these are just things that we're going to point out.
Well, because the margin of error is so slim for this team right now that every bad thing that you do in the game, it's magnified right now, because it's not like you're winning these games by 2 or 3 scores all the time.
And it's like Brady says, it's like control the things you can control. We can't control if a guy misses a read, misses a pass, drops a pass. If Lenny throws the ball, but you can't control that because you don't call the play where Lenny should be throwing the ball. These are the controllable things. Don't call that play in a particular time. Commit to a guy who is clearly better at your left guard position. That's something you can control. Commit to that publicly. Commit to the running back who's better than the older guy, the young guy. That's something you can do. The tight end. Kate Otten should be getting more routes than Cameron Brate. There seems to be this protection of older players that, and appeasement of older players that it should not be a factor in NFL football. It's about winning. It's not about whose contracts we're protecting or whose playing time we're protecting. You earn that playing time. And we talked about the Victor Hedman situation. Victor Hedman wasn't getting it done. He may be one of the top 5 defensemen of all time, certainly the best defenseman in the game. Cale Makar maybe. But consistently, you drop that guy from the number 1 power play to number 2. Why? Performance wasn't meeting it. So they have no trouble doing it there. Why do the Bucs have such an issue with this?
I couldn't tell you. And like I said, I brought up the example yesterday with Kansas City in their backfield. You go to all the really good teams in the league. They are quick to make a change when something goes wrong. Right. And that, again, like you said, has been a problem all year long. And we're getting to a point where it's your identity. Yep. This is just who you are as a coaching staff at this point. So if we see this, and we got a whole week to kind of simmer on it and get ready for Cleveland, but if we come out there and I see Leonard Fournette on drive 1, right? I mean, what do you say at that point?
And if Luke Gedeke is healthy after this bye week and starts at left guard,
I like to think that we're not going to go there. I just think that this is this coaching staff's MO to not say things like that in the public. I feel like they just don't want to put it out in the public, but I'd like to think that they're not. There's no way they go back to Gedeke.
Well, do you think Fournette would have started had he not had a passport issue?
I mean, apparently.
Oh, there you go. All right, let's listen into Tom Brady and his Let's Go well-sponsored podcast from last night. He was very upbeat, obviously, after coming back from Germany with the big win, and was addressing have the Bucs fixed their issues.
I think we're in a better place, obviously, than we were 5 quarters ago. And, we found a way to beat the Rams, which was a great win for our team. And then to go to Germany and win and get to 5-5 before the bye was a big goal for all of us. So, look, I think it's a challenging year in the NFL. I watched a lot of the games, highlights from yesterday. And, there's a lot of teams some that are just playing very, very well. Minnesota to go into Buffalo. That's a very tough thing to do. The Eagles have played very consistently all year. I think the Chiefs have played very consistently all year. So, other than that, it's kind of a hodgepodge of wins and losses and good games and bad games and which defenses show up, which quarterbacks show up. So it's been a unique year to watch. And I think the most important thing when you look forward is how do you play your best football? And if you play your best football, you got to believe that you're capable of winning every single week. It's just the challenge is how do you do that? And I always come back to preparation, to your process. Are you doing the right things to be able to prepare ourselves to play and ultimately get to game day and then be at an emotional level where you can play very well and you can play very free and you can play with a lot of excitement like we did yesterday. So that was more of a template for winning for our team yesterday than it has been all year. Played very good defense. Offense was a little bit better. Now we got to see if we can continue to improve from here.
Yeah, that template is definitely a winning template, but you have to be careful with that. You ran the football because you were having success running the football. If you go back to trying to run the football 44 times and you have Leonard Fournette running into the back of Luke Gedeke for a -1, that's not a formula to have success.
Yeah, but even the Rachaad White thing, though, made a big difference, yes. But even if you look at the overall play of the O-line, because, let's be honest, a lot of them is on them as well.
Yep.
They got to block better, right?
Yep.
And we've already mentioned it. No Marpet, no Ryan Jensen, no Alex Kappa. It's a smaller offensive line where the specialty is not exactly run blocking, right?
No.
But in that game, Tristan Wirfs is fantastic every game, but he was even better in this one if that's possible.
I thought Cade Otton blocked better.
Cade Otton blocked better. Yep. I saw Chris Godwin on a handful of plays.
Yeah,
I tell you what, we didn't get much into him yesterday, but from a blocking standpoint, he looked to be Chris Godwin again.
Yeah.
I saw multiple plays where he was taking care of his guy. Quandre Diggs had a rough day in general, dealing with Rachaad White, and he also had a rough day with Chris Godwin trying to get off blocks on him, and Rachaad White being able to kind of shimmy through little holes, stuff that I don't think Leonard Fournette was probably going to do. So it kind of goes both ways, but you definitely got to praise the offensive line and, of course, the receivers and tight ends for what they did as well.
Well, I've seen him breaking down the tape all year long, and I've mentioned it. It just looks like Leonard's vision is not good this year. He's not – there seems to be openings for the offensive line that they're making at times, especially when they run to the right, and he just is not making the right cuts, whereas Rachaad seems to have a much better feel for vision, and then he's got that burst where he pops through and makes himself skinny, whereas Leonard tends to want to just run through people, where White just is a little bit more elusive and explosive. And that difference, that millisecond difference is a difference between, 1 yard gain and a 7-yard gain, which is obviously the difference between a successful run and an unsuccessful run.
Yeah, like a good example I'll bring up real quick. You watched the Thursday night game last week. We all kind of had to endure it. But Deonta Foreman, I think you saw how hard that dude runs.
Yeah.
To me, that dude is how Leonard Fournette should run. Yeah. In my opinion. I think they're kind of like similar builds, but you see how Foreman just goes. Yeah. He just goes. And Leonard Fournette, as we've continued to get over,
the little dance steps, yeah.
The dance steps. So he doesn't play anywhere near to what you think he should.
Yeah. He doesn't get out of it what is there many, many times. All right, here's Tom Brady talking about did the effort improve after last week, saying that the game day effort for the Bucs was embarrassing?
Changed.
I think there were a lot of things that were better. And I think effort is something we can always control. I think preparation is something we control. I also said last week, I don't get frustrated, I'd say, necessarily with physical errors, because those happen, missing tackles, dropping balls, throwing a bad pass, missing a block. And I just think the things we can control, we have to do a great job of going forward. And that's how prepared we are to play. Mental errors, pre-snap penalties, playing to the whistle, being very physical. So all those things need to be above the line. They need to be at a championship level. And if they're not, then you give the other team too many opportunities to be successful. So I thought yesterday was better, and we've got to continue to be better. We got to continue to take it to the next level. I don't think anything we've done to this point has been to the level we're capable of. And in some ways, that's a good thing. In some ways, you say, okay, if we can step it up another level, we're going to be that much more difficult to beat.
Wow. We haven't done anything to the level that we should be doing it. That's what he said. But that's, I thought last week's was a damning statement. Boy, that's even more damning. And I think he obviously includes himself in that as well. And that is a good thing, because here they sit 5-5 in control of their division and an opportunity to make a run. I mean, you got 7 games left and what I would call a very manageable schedule. Teams that you can beat across the board. I think there may be one game on there that they're not favored in the rest of the way, if I remember that correctly. So this is a great opportunity, but I think what's even better is the fact that Brady is calling out his team to continue to step it up. That, okay, you won a game, don't relax. This is not good enough. It's not good enough. We need to be better. And I think that's exciting for them to say it. Yeah, they're at Cleveland, certainly a very winnable game. Then they got the Saints at home. The Saints are terrible. They're terrible.
Oh, they're just balking the season with Andy Dalton.
Yeah,
so.
I think they're tanking.
Yeah.
I really do. I really do think they're tanking. I watched the game the other night. I think the announcers kind of hinted at that as well. Yeah, at San Francisco is the game they're not going to be
14
favored.
and 15 are the tough ones.
Yeah. And then Cincinnati at home, and Cincinnati's starting to play better football. Then you're at Arizona. It's not going to be easy. You're on the road, West Coast. It's a Sunday night game, but that's a game you should win. Then you finish with the Panthers at home, and then the Falcons on the road, who should be toast by then.
So what you're telling me, it's entirely possible the Bucs finish this season 11-6.
1, 2.
I think they'll probably split. You're just going to beg for a split in week 14 and 15 against San Fran and Cincinnati.
I think it's much more likely it's a 10-7, which I will take all
but
day
the
long,
margin
I predicted before the season 11-5, 10-7.
Yeah, and you're going to win the division regardless.
Right.
Probably don't need to worry about seeding or anything. You just need to get in, right?
Yeah,
That's
get
the
that
most
home
important
game.
thing.
You get the home game.
So I was about to say the margin of error is slim,
You're
then
too
again,
far behind to get the number 1 seed.
Yeah, you're way behind there. But I still think, though, when you match them up to the other teams, and I know maybe this sounds crazy after 2 wins, you feel like everything's always changed, but we've been kind of going over all the problems still.
Mm-hmm.
But I still look around the NFC, and Tom even said it there. He said hodgepodge of kind of a bunch of mid, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And I'll say it again. I don't trust Daniel Jones in the playoffs.
No.
Until I see it.
And if Saquon goes down, that
thing's dead.
Yeah.
Until I see it, I can't trust Kirk Cousins. I love what he did the other day.
No.
He's taken one step to earning my trust, but I need to see it in a playoff game.
Yeah.
I don't care what y'all say about Taylor Heineke. I'm not the Washington Commodes are not winning anything. It ain't happening.
They're not.
And then we've beat Dallas and we beat Seattle.
Yeah.
So what are you left with? I think San Fran, which is going to be your toughest out, and Philadelphia if they can keep this rolling. So believe it or not, folks, the NFC is wide open still.
I was just thinking, what a wonderful matchup it would be. The Bucs at the Eagles in the NFC Championship game.
Oh, just like old times. Just like old times.
I would take that in a heartbeat right now.
With a semi-similar type quarterback on the other side versus a guy who's going to sit right in the pocket. So a similar dynamic
Donovan
there.
McNabb versus Brad Johnson, Tom Brady,
Jalen Hurts
versus Jalen Hurts. Interesting.
Similar dynamic there.
Yeah, interesting.
Which, I mean, did you hear, by the way, real quick, did you hear yesterday they were booing their team at halftime?
The Eagles?
Yeah. Loud boos for an undefeated team after halftime.
Such a great Philly thing to do. That's a wonderful. I just absolutely, I adore you people. Boo your own team that's undefeated. All right, here's Brady talking about the Philly special gone wrong. That was the awful trick play.
Pretty well yesterday.
That was a shot, Jim. That was a shot. That Philly special was not very special. And think the thing about it was when the ball was in there, I obviously knew I wasn't going to catch it. But I tried to go up to at least tackle, and try to keep the ball. And then I fell on my face. So in a lot of ways, embarrassment and shame at the same time on the same play. I won't forget that play. And I haven't had many receptions in my career, so I thought it would be pretty cool to get one in Germany. But it only seems right that the country with no speed limit on the Autobahn got to see me run routes as a wide receiver, which was very, very slow. So it contradicted a lot of things from my speed to what actually goes on in the roads there in Germany.
Ha, 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 ha. Not funny. I hate to be like Debbie Downer, but
I'm not. It's just awful. It's just for an offense that literally is having so much trouble moving the ball. You finally start moving the ball, and then you pull that out.
Yeah, and people are like, "Well, you nitpicking, man. Like, have a little fun with it." What if the Bucs lost this game? What if Seattle goes down and scores there and goes on to win this game? And you're sitting here at 4-6, and we're talking about Brady wanted to catch a ball in Germany. And what are you saying then? This should be the same thing you're saying now in terms of analyzing the decision to call the play and run the play. So, and as Greg Allman pointed out as we went back and forth, yeah, the head coach and the offense coordinator certainly have to sign off on it, but they're not going to, this by now. Tom gets what Tom wants, and that's what Tom wanted. Tommy. We love you, but come on, you're better than that. All right, here's Tommy talking about the Bucs defense and Devin White.
The Buccaneer defense yesterday.
Yeah, Gino played great, and he made some plays on fourth down that were incredible. But we give so much credit to our defense for, that was a team that was throwing the ball very well. They had a great run game. They had a young running back, Walker, who had been playing really well, and our defense really stepped up. And you look at someone like Devin White, who unfortunately his father passed away just before Devin got on a flight to Germany on Thursday, and just heartbreaking news for everyone. And Devin found a way to show a lot of mental toughness and to compartmentalize a lot of very difficult emotions. And, he said after the game, there's no place I'd rather be than with you guys to celebrate this victory. So I give him so much credit. And, he's seen a lot of resilience in sports over the years, and people that, because, football is part of our life. And, that's a very tragic thing that happened with Devin's father. Just proud of him and the way that he approached it and the way that our team approached the game and how everything came together, and they found a way to play spectacular football. And Devin certainly did against a very, very good offense.
Yeah. And hats off to Devin. And by the way, there's a report out now that Devin's father passed away in an ambulance on the way to the hospital. And there was, he was complaining of severe back pain, lower back pain, and then became, as the report says, became unresponsive in the ambulance. Nobody knows what happened there, but it does sound a little fishy, and certainly something that Devin's going to have to be dealing with over the bye week, which is really, really sad. And it's heartbreaking, actually. But for him to go out and play the game that he played, man, and it's, again, these are things and instances that can rally a team. As tragic as they are, you go out there and you see him give that effort, and if you're not, if you don't want to match that effort as a co-defensive player, something wrong with you. And the whole team just played an inspired brand of football. It was the best game, the most complete game they played. And as I mentioned, if not for two miracle throws by Gino, this is a 3-score beatdown, and that's against a very good Seattle team. So let's not get it twisted. This was a hell of a performance, and it can be a turning point in the season, and I hope it is.
Yeah, for whatever, guys, you never want to see things like this happen, but like you said, they can become rallying moments, and it just feels like, in general, the vibe, and of course, winning, again, it cares a lot, but it feels like they're more of a team today than they were probably even 4 or 5 weeks ago, where it felt like we really were just kind of a disjointed mess. It feels like everybody's kind of rallied around each other in general. And it's gotten through to their head. I mean, again, losing will do that to you. When you go 3-5, and in that Rams game, you were staring 3-6 in the face.
Yeah, you were.
And it was looking very bleak there until the last drive. But you were able to pull that out. Credit to them. And then go out there and win in Munich. And now you're 5-5 at the bye week. So all of a sudden, again, it feels like everything's in front of you all of a sudden again.
By the way, I was reading a little bit from the Seattle perspective, and the Seattle perspective is a little bit of, the NFL wanted to go to Germany and have their golden boy win a game, and it's too bad we spoiled his little moment of getting a touchdown, and the calls were certainly going the Bucs' way, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I'm just.
If we had a problem with officiating on either side, I think we would bring it here to the show. I didn't see much that really bothered me in that one.
No, I was trying to think of what they were talking about, and now last night's game, the Commodes game, the unnecessary roughness on Brandon Graham. There were a few calls in that game last night that were, let's say, head scratchers again. I think the officiating this year in the NFL has been dreadful on so many levels.
Who's the off the worst crew? Was it Sean Hockley?
Sean Hockley's crew is just awful. They miss. They call the most ticky-tack stuff, and they miss the most obvious stuff. It's so, but they're so bad. They're so bad. They think they're second or first in the league in holding calls. Just awful.
The more I think about it, the only call that I can think about, maybe that they have a problem with, and I thought the refs did a good job in picking the flag up, was the Levante David hit.
Yeah,
is that the one?
I don't know. Maybe they didn't want that one picked up. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, that was a joke. But everybody's gonna have a different perspective on that, especially when you lose. All right, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll hear from Todd Bowles. He did some media yesterday, some interesting things there we'll get into. We are brought to you by Emerging Investigations, emerginginv.com, Tampa Bay's #1 private investigation agency. If you have an issue with your spouse, insurance fraud, anything like that, missing person, a criminal matter that you need a PI for, they are the folks to go to, family-owned and operated. Very easy to deal with. Give them a call over there. Go to Emerging Investigations, emerginginv.com. Give Rachel a call, and she will help you out. They'll explain the whole process, how much it's going to cost, how they do it, and you'll have a much better feel for it. So, emerginginv.com. Back with Todd Bowles next. Stay with us. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell him JP sent you.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
It's that time of the year to renew or shop your health insurance provider, and you can get great health insurance for $20, $30, $50 a month. Just call 844-310-9961 to help navigate the health insurance marketplace. 1 out of 3 people in Florida are uncovered because they think they can't afford it. It's not true. I made the call a couple of years ago, and they helped me get Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage, Florida Blue, for just $20 a month. Last year, it went up to $49. Are you kidding me? It all depends on your income and family situation. It's a free call, 844-310-9961. They will ask for some income information, and the highly trained reps will do the work to find out what your subsidy will be. 844-310-9961. And if you have a plan through your employer, you may be able to get it cheaper here. It's a free call, folks, and this has been a lifesaver for me and saved me thousands of dollars over the last few years. And you could choose your plan. That's 844-310-9961. Get covered like me and thousands of others and save thousands. 844-310-9961. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Emerging Investigations and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. If you had your car totaled by an insurance company, didn't get the settlement that you thought you should get, including all the expenses for tax and tag and title and everything else to replace your car, well, you may have a case, and the insurance company may have to pay your legal fees as well. So find out by calling the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com, and you can see if you have a case. It's a free call, so why not make the call and see if you can collect some money. Let them do the work. Chances are they probably can get you some dough. So check it out at jeeveslawgroup.com. There's a couple ancillary things running around Twitter that we want, because we always like to hit on some of these things. So evidently, Antonio Brown, and I hate talking about him, but, sometimes I think it does help us to get some clarity on what happened in the 2021 season. Anyway, so he put up a text message that he got from Tom Brady in May of 2021, basically saying what every good father would say to a wayward son. You're hanging around with the wrong people again. You're making bad choices again. There's a lot of people that have supported you, including myself, and now you're going back to the same old AB. Paraphrasing here. Now, I'm not quite sure why AB would put that text out there, because it doesn't exactly make him look great. And we don't know the legitimacy of the text, to be quite honest, but it certainly comes from Tom Brady's voice. It certainly sounds like that's something that Tom would text him in that situation. And if it is indeed true, then we saw signs of that anyway on social media and everything else, that he was going back to being the old AB, that, in May of 2021, that they just allowed this to continue to fester on and on and on. So I don't know. It seems like, AB worked out fabulously for the Super Bowl season. And I was against signing him from the very beginning. And so was Bruce Arians. He had to be convinced. But we all knew, and thank God we got a Super Bowl out of it, but we all knew how that was going to end. And it ended very, very poorly. Well, I don't think we knew it was going to end like that, even for AB, but which was entertaining. But, it kind of goes to, again, the culture that happened after the Super Bowl, and what eventually led this team down the path that got this team almost to 3-6. But now the ship has been righted. It seems like it's a small sample size, 5 quarters, that you've kind of righted the ship in a middling NFC, it's good enough. And it's as a team that should be playing much better and was a Super Bowl favorite for a reason. There's a reason. And obviously, injuries are going to hurt that. But now it seems like they're on the other side of that and could be getting better. I mean, let us not forget that Julio Jones actually looked like Julio Jones. That's a big deal. Kate Otten is starting to give us the feel that he can replace some of what Gronk brought us. I mean, that's good news. Rachaad White is without question an upgrade in the running game, and maybe even Keyshawn Vaughn. And I wonder if Devin Tompkins, who we saw in the preseason, who was fabulous, is not one of those guys that should be getting playing time, instead of guys that jump up for throws that they don't need to jump up for. And Devin Tompkins is pretty fast as well, maybe faster than Scotty Miller. So you question this now because they're not the obvious situations with Leverett and Rachaad White and Kate Otten that the better player was not playing or not getting enough playing time. So you wonder if there's other guys like that on this team as well that could make them better. So and with that as a backdrop, we want to listen to Todd Bowles yesterday. Did a Zoom media offering. So we'll try to get the questions in here and the answers from Todd Bowles yesterday post Germany as they returned from the all-night flight.
All right. First question will come from Ira Kaufman.
He looks very energetic too.
Todd, welcome back, Todd.
Thanks, Ira.
Welcome back, Todd.
Todd, you always talk about staying ahead of the sticks, and I think you're probably going to put up yesterday's game as a prime example of what happens when you do it. Todd, 7 out of the 15 third down situations you faced were 3rd and 3 or less, and you made all 7 of them. So, Todd, is that the prime example of what you've been talking about all year about getting some good yardage early in downs?
Yeah, I think it's a great example. It's a lot better than having 3rd and 7 plus. That makes it a lot harder. And it opens up blitz packages for people when they have to play the run and the pass, and you have manageable yards to get, you have a better chance of getting it.
And Todd, can you talk a little bit about Jamel Dean? Todd, you've had the guy for 3 years and you've seen steady progress. How impressed are you with his ascension?
Extremely impressed, especially with the mental part of his game. He's come along 4 years as far as being naive and green. He's become a great film study guy. He understands what's happening to him and what people try to do to him. And he's taken all that and kind of put it together, and he's playing fast, and he's having a heck of a year for us. So I'm proud of him.
Thanks, Todd.
We'll go to Scott Reynolds. If any media questions, please raise your hand.
Jamel Dean, underrated tremendously.
When you took over for Bruce, that was on March 30th, free agency had already kind of come and gone, but you were obviously a big part of this draft class. Can you just speak to how these rookies, specifically in your draft class, have performed? You're getting so many contributions from so many guys. The latest, of course, was Rachaad yesterday for you.
Those guys have been doing great. Jason and them do a great job of identifying guys that are mentally tough and mentally smart enough, and the game's not too big for them, that just love to play football. And it doesn't always come in the form of maybe the most talented players, but the guys that come in are ready to play right now. They study, they do a great job studying as well as understanding what they need to do on the field. And those guys have come through big for us.
Now that you've had a couple of games to evaluate Nick Leverett's play at left guard, what is your opinion of his play, and will he continue to be the starter moving forward?
Luke's still hurt right now. There's more games to play. Obviously, we like what he's doing right now. Nick has always been tough and physical for us. He played a big part in a lot of the run game yesterday. We'll evaluate more when Luke comes back, but he's playing great right now. He's earned an opportunity to play.
You're talking about Nick, right?
Yes.
All right, hold up. What are we not seeing? How do you evaluate? What are you going to evaluate? Are you going to go back and watch Luke Gedicke's tape? What are you going to evaluate? We've seen the tape. We know what he is right now. Now, he may become a better player at some point, but it's certainly not now. And if this is not even close, this is a guy that's playing at an 8.5, 9 compared to a guy that was playing at a 0. and it was dramatically hampering your running game and passing game. Like, I don't know what the point is in saying this.
Like I said, the only thing I can think of here is that it's their MO not to say things like this in the public and just put it out there, because they've done that all along. They kind of just keep you guessing, or they just like to keep the confidence of both up. I don't know. This staff can't be that clueless. There's no way, right? They can go back to Luketicki.
What does the evidence show us?
That they'll go back to Luketicki.
Yes. I mean, that's all I have to go on. Again, I love Todd Bowles.
I guess I could put it.
He's a great dude, and this coaching staff to a man, they're all great guys.
Yeah, and
they're smart guys. And they've won Super Bowl. They won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. The staff did.
Yeah.
Obviously Bruce wasn't was there guiding them in a very real way, but you can't. These are such obvious mistakes that they're making in personnel that and to double down on them in interviews just seems silly. All right, let's continue.
Thank you.
Joey Knight.
Todd, obviously Julio made a couple nice plays for you. Didn't get targeted a whole bunch, but can you just speak to just the extra dimension and how he opens things up for you when he's out there and he's healthy, just what he brings for you guys?
That's some of the things we've seen when we signed him. Hopefully he's getting over that hump now. He played well yesterday. He gives us an added dimension. He takes some pressure off of the other two receivers that we have right now, and he opens up the run game some. What really went unnoticed that he did a fantastic job blocking down the field. The receivers did a great job blocking. They got Rashard some extra yardage.
Is this kind of what you envisioned for the past game? It was very balanced, as you said. Your tight ends were healthy. Julio was out there. Was this kind of what y'all envisioned all along?
Yeah, along with the run game. The run game opens up more play action passes, and we got the ball rolling yesterday, so we were able to suck some people up and then throw behind them.
And finally, do you expect Lenny to be good to go in 2 weeks when y'all play at Cleveland?
It's early to tell right now. We'll get the treatment and we'll reevaluate it next week.
Okay, thanks.
Evan Klosky.
Hey, Todd, speaking on the injury note, is there a potential that Logan Ryan would be making his way back coming out of the bye? Is that a potential coming out of it?
It's possible, but I doubt it right now. I haven't seen him running yet, so it's way too early to say he'll be back right now. We'll just wait and see as it goes.
Okay. And then also, just for you as a coaching staff, how do you attack this bye week, and what goes into that extra week to kind of reassess and also rest at the same time?
You try to get ready for Cleveland. You start looking at them early. You don't go overboard with it. You start looking at them early and kind of space your days out instead of watching them in 2 days and trying to cram everything. You kind of space your days out some and try to look at every little thing and see things that we can try and do better for the second half of the season. Then you kind of lock in on it toward the end of the week and get started next week.
Ira Kaufman.
Todd, I wasn't in your defensive meetings, Todd, last week, but I guarantee you mentioned Kenneth Walker 47 times, Todd. He got the ball, 10 carries. He went nowhere, Todd. He never got to the second level. And so how proud are you of this collective rushing effort against one of the hottest runners in the league?
Well, I didn't mention him 47 times. It's probably more like 99. We thought the game, their offense started and ended with him. As much talent as they have on the outside, we thought he did the most damage. And to try to limit him from running the football, because he has great vision, great feet. We think he's an outstanding back and probably one of the best young backs in the league, if not one of the best backs in the league. To hold him down was very important for us. So I'm proud of that part from the defensive front. The corners as well, they tackled well.
And Todd, I'm just wondering, on your flight back, or you've had time to think about it, a lot of people are talking about the turf at the stadium. Did you have any problems with it, Todd? Could the league do a little better job going forward?
It was slick. I mean, it was a slick field for both teams. We understood that. Everybody had on their long cleats, but it was still a slippery field. I don't know how much you can do about that when the field is slick. Don't know if the rain or anything had anything to do with it, but you play on those surfaces and you kind of adjust, but it was a slick surface.
Thanks, Todd.
Kasey Allen.
Hey, Coach. Just you've been getting a lot of contributions from the rookies, Rashad White, Kadon, Kamara, etc. You started Rashad White at running back. Just wondering what went into that, and is there a possibility that he's going to get more snaps and maybe even be the starter going forward for you guys?
We have different packages for guys, and we just started out with that package. You know, it was a change of pace package that we started out with, and the plays we had scheduled for Rashad, that happened to be one of the plays we had scheduled for him. So that's how we came out with the game.
And as far as Cade Otton goes, with Cam Brate back and healthy, does he still remain that tight end one for you guys because of his blocking ability and obviously developing receiving skills, or is that more of a rotational basis you guys will use him on?
It'll be a rotation, obviously. We got guys we like to rotate in with Cam and Cade and Cole as well. So it'll be a rotational basis depending on what we have up.
This reminds me, by the way, are we officially on Gronk watch?
I don't, Barry, he kind of shot down those rumors to the NFL Network crew. I still have heard chatter about it. So there was a lot of talk preseason that it would be after the bye week if the Bucs were still in it. I had thought that he would come back earlier than that. At least that was the chatter I was hearing. But I don't know. At this point, if Gronk coming back be, yeah, of course it would be positive. Of course it would help this team in every way. But is he in shape? Is he ready to go? Has he stayed in shape? I mean, is he working out? He didn't work out when he was getting paid to work out. He was sending in fake videos.
Oh, come on.
But he's always in shape. I mean, he's a physical freak. So it's not like, and again, think about this. He's not going to be asked to do 85, 90% of the snaps either.
No.
I would think in this situation, they would be using him in spots where, it's going to second and third downs mostly, or what. I don't know. He certainly wouldn't be getting the normal amount of snaps that he got last year.
I'm only bringing it up because he was just asked right there about Cade Otton and Cam Brate and whatnot. And again, love Cam Brate, love what he's done, but is liability the right word when he's out there? Because he's just not giving you anything, really.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just running wasted routes, if we're being honest here. Yeah. And clearly the connection with him and Brady, there really hasn't been one in the last 3 years, I'd argue. It's just not there. If Gronk did come back, I mean, obviously that kicks Kyle Rudolph to the curb, probably off the roster completely.
Well, I don't think that's a problem.
That's not a problem.
That's not a problem.
But then again, it's like, are you dressing?
Active in Germany.
And then if you do it though, like, does the staff really have it in them to not dress Cam Brate? Because I'm not sitting Cade Otton down, and I'm not kicking O'Keefe to the curb either, because they provide more than Cam Brate does.
Interesting.
It's an interesting point, and knowing this staff and how much they love their veterans, I don't know.
And do they play with four?
Or they just dress 4 tight ends? But then at that point, what's the point of Cam Brate even being in there?
Yeah, he's not. There is no point because Cade Otton's a better receiving tight end. He's a bigger target. He's faster, and that's what Cam is a receiving tight end. So yeah, there would be no role for him, and that's the way football should be. Sorry. The better players need to play, not the ones that are older or what have you. So, yeah. All right. I just got an explosive tweet here from Joe Bucs fan that we're going to get to here in a second. So, should we finish up with Bowles here? Or
we'll get a couple more from Bowles here.
Scott Reynolds.
Todd, you were very complimentary of Geno Smith, one of your former players, before the game. Now that you went to battle with him yesterday and you got a chance to see him, he's one of the better stories, obviously, with his resurgence of his career this year. What were your thoughts on Geno Smith, seeing him live and in person yesterday?
Obviously, he played tough. He played gritty. He got him back in the ball game. He's been playing like that all year. We knew the game wasn't over. He made some plays, obviously, to get him back in the ball game, but I told him how proud I was of him after the ball game and to keep going and keep working. And, I was just happy to see him have success.
After the Ravens game, you implored your defense to play for 4 quarters. They've done that now for these last 2 games, playing 4 quarters for you. in terms of the effort and the discipline, et cetera. What else is happening to have your defense play so well, to hold the Rams to 13 points, the Seahawks to 16, and more importantly, to play well enough to win these last 2 games?
Communication has picked up. The communication has picked up, and guys are talking to each other a lot more than they have been. Obviously, with Winfield down and Logan Ryan down, we lost a lot of communication. But a lot of guys have stepped up and start believing in each other and playing for the guy next to them, and I think that's picked up and changed a lot.
Interesting.
We have time for a few more. We'll finish with Evan Winter and then Evan Klosky.
Experience in the secondaries.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, on Seattle's first third down, y'all had a rotation up there in the front 7 that really threw them off and caused that delay of game. Obviously, we see a lot of rotation on the back end post snap. Just wanted to get your thoughts on the benefits of a pre-snap rotation on the front 7. You just don't really, obviously, you throw a lot of exotic looks out there, but you just don't really see that with defenses a lot of times.
Well, sometimes because they can run the ball on you if you have people out of place too much. Obviously, with the people we had out there with Joe and Avery, we thought they were athletic enough to go behind the ball and give a different look and still be solid in the run game as well. So we try to tweak some things as we go, and we're starting to get into certain things and doing different things for the second half of the season that we think can help us going forward.
And just real quick on Joe Tryon-Schwenka covering Disley down the sideline on the wheel route. Don't really see a lot of outside linebackers with that type of athleticism run stride for stride with guys like that, even if it was a tight end. I just wanted to get your overall thoughts on JTS and his ability to give you that wrinkle in your defense.
Well, Joe's a good athlete. He can cover a lot of people and do a lot of things for us. Obviously, we don't ask him to cover much, but in that situation, he did a good job going down the sidelines. And, if I say this too loud, he's going to get a big head. So, there's some things he can get better at, obviously. So we'll go forward from there.
All right, we'll end it there. And this just in from Joe Bucs fan. Ira Kaufman did a wide-ranging interview with Bruce Arians. Very interesting here. Here's one quote. He said, Arians said, I'm really optimistic about the rest of the season. First off, we're getting healthy. Tom smiled at practice last week for the first time this season, as we noted. Different dude in the press conference a couple weeks ago, post-divorce. That's my commentary, not his. Bruce continues. He's going to be fine. I love the swagger we played with Sunday, especially defensively. It's been missing. Seattle's a good running team, but that kid Walker went nowhere. And then Kaufman writes, before the Bucs assumed first place in the week, NFC South, Leftwich faced withering criticism from Nick Eddies for a plotting offense that was settling for field goals instead of touchdowns. Quote from Arians, I don't think it was fair to Byron. Nobody is going to say that Brady was playing bad, but he was playing bad. Let me repeat that. Nobody was going to say Brady was playing bad, but he was playing bad. Well, I said it. We also had growing pains on a young offensive front, and we weren't running well. Reed, Luke Gedeke can't block. There comes a time as a play caller where you're losing yards running the ball, and you say, forget this. I'm going to put the ball in Tom's hands. Of course. Ira continues. The Bucs featured a robust ground game in Munich as rookie Rachaad White carried 22 times for 105 yards. He started ahead of veteran Leonard Fournette, who added 57 rushing yards and a touchdown. Just 10 games into his NFL career, White is already generating comparisons to a Hall of Famer Arians saw up close as an assistant coach with the Colts. Quote from Arians, I told you way back when that White's going to take this thing over. He's just too freaking good. He sees it. He's got power. He's got speed. He can run routes like a wide receiver. I think he's very much like an Edgerrin James. He can run, he can catch, and he's a little bow-legged, just like Edgerrin. And he also praised the Bucs kicking game. Brady looked sharp in Germany, although Arians was shocked by a fourth-quarter interception that ended a streak of 399 consecutive passes without a pick. Fournette was also picked off when he tried to find a well-covered Brady down the left sidelines. Quote from Arians, don't ever tell a halfback he can throw the ball, Arians said with a laugh, because no matter what, he's going to throw it. Yeah, once you call the play, you can't turn back most times with a halfback.
Well, that's some interesting stuff there.
How about that? How about that?
I don't even know where to even begin with that one.
So this is what it tells me. If Bruce Arians was the quarterback, then we would have heard Bruce Arians.
Or the coach, you mean?
The coach, yeah. we would have heard him publicly condemning Tom Brady, as he should have been. Tom Brady was playing terrible. And as we noted on this show many, many times, and as I asked Tom Brady and as I asked Byron Leftwich about the bad reads, and none of them would cop to it. And I would just say, if Bruce Arians were in these meetings and was running this team, do you think that mediocre play would have been, let's say, cut short and this turnaround would have happened earlier? He certainly would have had Rachaad White as running back number one. That's clear. That's clear by these statements. And, I think a lot of people are going to say, why is Bruce talking now in the public and it's not Todd Bowles? It's a fair point. It's a fair point, but I don't hate it.
It's hard to ask Todd to be who he is, to be something he's not.
And that's not what we're asking.
And that's not what we're asking. We're asking just for a little bit of the accountability that we thought was missing there. But this is who Bruce is. We've seen it. We saw it in 2020 when he called out Brady. And clearly it lit a fire under his ass and the entire team.
Absolutely.
Because the entire team said, oh, he's going after that guy.
Right.
I got to step up my game now.
Right.
And that's kind of what you want out of a head coach, I think. And you weren't getting that from Todd Bowles. Maybe you're still not getting that. But I don't know. Maybe this is Bruce's way of, hey, I can still say something, right? I'm going to go out there and put it out there. They're all going to see it. And maybe he said it. He's there at every practice.
Yeah.
Who says he's not out there saying things?
That's true too. That's true too. I don't know. Is he in the meetings? Do you think that he's sitting there, saying, hey, we need to get Rachaad?
I mean, they're never going to tell you that he's in the meetings, and then they're never going to tell you that he's involved or anything. But do we believe that?
I've been told he's not involved.
I mean, are they going to admit, is what I'm saying, that the Super Bowl winning head coach who might be in the Hall of Fame one day, who's 2 doors down from Todd Bowles, is not involved in anything?
They're not going to admit it, but that's what's going on.
I don't know. It's just interesting quotes. I mean, the other thing you have to keep in mind here, where he says it's not fair to Byron. Listen, Byron is like Todd Bowles and Byron Leftwich. They're like his football sons. Okay, he wants him to grow and let him fly and all that stuff, butterfly, that whole nice thing. He even says in one of these quotes right here that he thinks that Byron Leftwich is going to be a damn good head coach. I thoroughly disagree with that point, but I think that's part of it too. I mean, he's not going to criticize his own guys.
No, he's not. But they clearly don't follow his lead of public criticism. I mean, and again, everybody has a different way. And what I would deduce from that is Arians' criticism publicly tends to lead to faster turnarounds. And if I were Todd Bowles, I would perhaps dabble in some of that. Because I do think, and it's not that you have to call guys out because you're trying to please the media or please whatever. I think it's important because it sends a message to your players and to the fans that you're on this, and you're not going to put up with it. And you're seeing what everybody else is seeing. So I do think there's something, there's some positive parts to it in terms of doing it publicly. And I think it works. For some players it works, some players it doesn't, but view these quotes in the context of the Brady versus BA controversy. What is that? What do these quotes tell you? For BA to come out now after Brady, to say Tom has just smiled for the first time at practice week and a half ago, and he was playing bad. Nobody's going to say it, but he was playing bad. I mean, what is that? It kind of, I don't know. It kind of tells me that, BA's like, you know what? I'm going to say whatever I want to say. I'm going to say it, and it's true. Yeah, I'm going to say it because it's true. And, if Tom likes it, great. If Tom doesn't like it, fine. And will it be seen as, he's picking on Tom for not? No, look, it's a lot of what we've been saying here is that he hasn't been the same dude. And it's not just us saying it. People have been talking about this all year long. People in the preseason, everybody. He was just a different dude. And now we know in the context of what was going on behind the scenes, and my God, explosive stuff yesterday. Of course, the Giselle's camp is now refuting the fact that she's dating her jiu-jitsu trainer, even though there's pictures of them at the Costa Rica compound with the kids this past weekend. but they're not dating. Whatever. That's their private life. I'm not going to make judgments on it. It is what it is. But just think about Tom Brady. And we said this yesterday. The divorce is one thing to handle as a man. I've been through it. You can handle that stuff, all that stuff. What really gets me, and I'm sure gets Tom and most guys, is what it does to the children, especially younger children, and what they're being put through. Are they being pulled by one side or the other? In my situation, I wanted to make it very clear that this was, everything that I was doing was about the kids and making sure that they're okay, not bringing other people into their lives, 5 minutes after the divorce is final, and, things that are, that's just not, and doing it publicly, it's not cool, in my opinion. And if Tom were to do the same thing, I would say that's not cool. That's just not cool, because it's about the kids, and you want to keep things as normal as you can for them when they're going through situations like this. So, you can, and I'm not ripping. Giselle can do whatever the hell she wants. She can do whatever the hell she wants. It's her life. We don't know all of the background of it, right? We don't know what's going on there. But that being said, it's very public, and what the public criticism is going to be. And, I don't know. And to me, that goes to Tom's mental state. I think he was very worried about what was going on with the kids and what was happening with their overall lives and how they were going to get settled. And obviously it's very hard to do your job, especially this job, with all that stuff going on. And it seems like that stuff seems to be behind him, or at least he's reconciled it to some degree. And let's hope this latest salvo of very public stuff with his ex-wife. And now, of course, she's denying that she's dating him. All this stuff, this tabloid stuff, we can say, oh, we shouldn't be talking about it. It's privacy, blah, blah, blah. They're the ones that are very public couples. They are very public. They make a lot of money off being public. So to me, this is in the public arena. And if we're going to comment on it about what his mental state is vis-a-vis him playing football, I think that's fair game. And if you can sit there and see him the way he's played the last 2 weeks compared to the way he was playing previously, to deny that he looks a hell of a lot better, just his nonverbal communication, the way he's handled him, everything else is folly. Come on, it's a totally different dude. Bruce Arians said it. So many people that have been around the program, myself, they've been in press conferences. You can see it. It's night and day. So yeah, this is good. This is a good thing for the Bucs. Tom's back. They figured out the offensive line. It looks like the defense was tremendous. You're starting to get these younger players playing better. All of that is good stuff. All of that is good stuff.
I was going to say too, by the way, just in regards to like people being, I guess, and Bruce kind of said it there, no one wants to criticize Tom Brady, right? Because everybody it's just hard to do. But, I look at other quarterbacks, and I guess the easiest thing to kind of compare him to is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, things are going well. Who gets all the blame?
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he gets ripped.
In the media, it's Aaron Rodgers. Former teammates go after him like nobody's business. I mean, you have former teammates telling him he needs to be benched before this Dallas game.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
So the dynamic there is interesting. And there are people who blame Brady for his play, but I think level-minded people were always going to point out all the other things with the Bucs before they went to Brady, right?
Right. When
it comes to like Aaron Rodgers, and they're to me on the same pedestal, it's always Rodgers' fault, and nobody has a problem criticizing it. And I just wonder, why is that? And maybe he makes himself an easier target.
He does.
He does. He's a lot more open in the media and snarky with the media.
Well, let's just be honest about the media. When he was labeled an anti-vaxxer, that's one side of the media. That's a large part of the media. And once you do that, Kyrie Irving, what's a darling of the media? Not so much anymore. Well, Aaron Rodgers, not so much. I don't think they ever have media darlings, but they were never attacked in the media like they have been after that part happened. And by the way, they turned out to be right in the media.
Well, after he did the McAfee thing where he kind of went after everybody, it felt like.
Yeah.
I mean, there really is, again, he kind of makes himself an easier target,
Brady,
I guess.
Brady didn't do that.
Brady doesn't
very
do that.
Political. Very, Aaron Rodgers isn't trying to sell, workout programs, everything. I don't have to go everything to TB12 selling. TB12 is the quintessential Republicans buy shoes too. The Michael Jordan quote, right? He's the quintessential. So now he's going to play both sides to the middle. He's not going to be controversial, where Aaron Rodgers is more honest about what he is, what he feels, what he sees, what he thinks. I personally like that part of it. I'm for that. You're going to ruffle a lot of feathers, but it's who you are.
So
I'd rather you be real than fake.
So Brady's Messi and Rodgers is Ronaldo. This is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly
it's just very relevant to what's going on right now.
Yeah. I don't know. You've told me the Ronaldo. So yes, absolutely. I think that's a very good analogy.
For those of you who understand.
Yeah. There you go. Some of you don't, I don't know the nuances of it, but I would say, yeah. And so Rodgers is going to be attacked by the media because of his political stances. And remember, Brady was too when he used to be friends with Trump and play golf with him all the time. He was ridiculed for it, and that's why he stopped doing it and why he turned on Trump. So is what it is. This is what it is. You are who you are, and he's got a lot of businesses to take care of. I get it. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. Kasey Hudson is going to join us from Pewter Report. She was over in Munich for the NFL experience over there in Munich, the Deutschland NFL. So we'll chat with her about her experience and talk a little football and Bolts as well with the Dallas Stars coming in tonight. Big game at Amalie Arena. So we'll check in with Kasey Hudson. When we come back, we're brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com, testosterone replacement therapy. Also looking for nutrition goals or your immune system boosted up. They can do all that for you with great modern medicine. Bay Area Modern Medicine Center, Medical Center. We'll be back in 3 minutes. Stay with us. Was your car totaled in an accident? Did your insurance company use Kelley Blue Book or NADA to appraise the value of your car? Chances are they didn't, and you got shorted maybe thousands of dollars. Call the Jeeves Law Group for a free case evaluation because your insurance company may still owe you money. 727-894-2929. It's a free call, so why not find out if you have a case? Insurance companies have been running this scam for a while, and most folks don't know if they've been shorted. Trust me. Scott Jeeves is a different kind of attorney, the kind insurance companies hate to go up against. He could recover thousands of dollars, so why not call? 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you. JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations. Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
Hey guys, Serena Fazan here for the Gold and Diamond Source. Are you looking for the hottest trends in men's jewelry? Ladies love to see men spice it up with something cool from the Gold and Diamond Source. Whether you're looking for a gold chain, fashion rings, even a pre-owned Rolex watch, or thinking about getting engaged, there's only one place to go. Go see my friends, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Gold and Diamond Source for your one-stop jewelry supercenter. It's never been more important to shop local and support the businesses that support our amazing Tampa Bay community. None better than the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, or online at goldendiamond.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. We want to welcome in our good friend Kasey Hudson from the Pewter Report. Also, she has a wonderful podcast with Kaylee Mizell as well. Feel free to pub that as well. What's up, Kasey? How are you?
What's going on, guys? I am getting situated, and I am still overseas. I'm in London. I just got here this morning.
Oh, beautiful.
Well,
afternoon. Nice.
I don't know what's what anymore, but I'm good.
How was Germany? How was that experience?
It was insane. So especially for me, growing up playing soccer and being a big soccer fan, the way that they set up a lot of things in Munich was almost like watching Premier League. So you had so many different bars and Plaza, if I'm saying that correctly, where you could see where majority of like Seahawks fans would go, Bucs fans would go. And then after the game, there were so many NFL fans there, and not all American either. So it was insane. You were seeing hundreds of jerseys, while obviously Bucs and Seahawks were predominantly the jerseys you were seeing all kinds of NFL jerseys. And then it would be somebody from France or something so random. So it was a really cool experience from an NFL perspective, but I geeked out about it because it felt Premier League and NFL-like for me.
We talked about that, I think, on yesterday's show a little bit, like the differences between like an American crowd and a European crowd. And like, I'm a big Premier League junkie as well. So like, I love that kind of stuff. I mean, what do you think the big difference is? Why like an American crowd seems to be a little bit more, I don't know if reserve's the right word, but they kind of late arriving, early leaving. And the European crowd is just like crazy the entire time.
You know, that's a great question because funny enough, a lot of the people that I met and talked to, we would ask, oh, you know, what do you guys do here? What's fun? And everybody's reaction was, oh, we just like to watch sport. So we're like, so no matter what's on, you're just watching sports. And they're like, yeah. So while they're hell bent on cheering on their team, I mean, UK is different because Premier League, as you'd probably know, Nick, like they kill for their team. It's like in their blood beyond what Americans can even imagine. But when they're not watching one sport, they're watching the other, and then the other. It was everybody's response to how much they just watch sports. So I think atmosphere, whether a team's winning or losing, or you have to park, maybe the transportation's easier, but I think that they're just more present at being in a game. It's not this whole, all right, I got to get back, you know, to the house, or I want to beat the traffic kind of thing. It's no, you're going to a bar after, you're going to stay out, you're going to take, you know, the rails later, and it's a whole day thing. Nothing else is going to have to do with interrupting sports. And then for Munich, they shut down everything in Munich besides the pubs and the restaurants on Sundays. So you can't be distracted by anything other than drinking and watching sports.
So I guess IKEA's not open, like Publix isn't open, nothing's open. It's like everybody, because they know nobody's going there on Sunday, right? Everybody's going to they're going to be watching football, or they're going to be watching whatever, and that's going to be that. That's interesting, and I think also because they do take mass transit, nobody drives to the games there, right? These they don't even have huge parking lots, right? These stadiums are like in the middle of neighborhoods, so
everything's very narrow and small.
So you can't drive to the game, so you can't beat the traffic. So they're just like, but the fact that they sat in the stadium for like 45 minutes before the game, everybody's in their seat, and 45 minutes after, I mean, that's got to be a concessionaire's dream, number one. They don't stop selling beer in the third quarter because nobody's driving home, right? So there are some cultural differences here, and I got to say, I like the European model better.
Oh, we're a big fan of it. And mind you, you know that it's a great time here if you just come in full chaos mode. You guys know the storm or the little driplet that came through Wednesday just threw everything off course. So I was supposed to be in Munich almost 2 days before I made it. And then when we get there, we're just asking all sorts of questions so we can maximize on everything we were supposed to do days ago. Right. But yeah, it's just the focus was what was happening. So I just feel like they have a very great attention span with isolating on what the big thing is in town, and everybody's on board with it. I mean, and they made up songs for everything that happened in the game. You know, if Tom Brady did something cool, all of a sudden somebody just starts chanting something random and everybody follows along. I was very curious as to, were these made up? Did anybody pass out these lyrics beforehand? Like, how did this come about? And it's like, no, somebody just starts to chant and you lean into it. So, and they were still singing after the game and stuff. It's insane. So the culture, I'm a big fan of.
Oddly enough, Country Road is become this European folk song when it's not. I've been going to Europe since early 90s, before you were born. And I don't remember Country Road being a thing. And then I went back 3 years ago to Ireland, Northern Ireland, and the Republic of Ireland. And every pub I went to, that was their closing song. I'm like, you got all these great Irish drinking songs. You guys are going John Denver. And I'm like, now it's a continental phenomenon. I guess Germany, everywhere, it's Country Road. What the hell?
I don't get it.
You don't know the words.
No, they love it. Well, the first time I saw it, which is probably a weird reference to mention, was in a movie. The Scottish guy starts singing it before he was about to get blown up. I think it was like Kingsman or something. And so after that, I Googled it. But for some reason, I guess. So have you ever noticed that when people come to the States, they gravitate towards country music? Like both my parents are foreign, but they used to tell me for some reason country music made them feel homier or grounded or something. I never got it. And so now I'm like, okay, I guess that they just gravitated towards that song because of things it's talking, because most Scottish, Irish, and, you know, they live in more country areas and drive into town when they need things. So I don't know. I was so curious.
I think country music is more akin to Irish folk music and the folk music of Germany and France and Spain. I think because it's more instrumental, it's less maybe techno. So maybe they gravitate more towards it. I don't know, but it's definitely a thing. And I think, you know, just from, you know, having my first wife was from Ireland. So I know the Irish culture. My only first wife was from Ireland. I know that culture, and it's always about drinking songs. And you go to football games or rugby matches, you learn from an early age, you learn these songs, you learn them all. So when you go to a football match or what have you, they all know the words to all the different songs, right? So what a cool
and
thing.
They never stop singing and they never stop drinking. My dad's mom's from Kerry, Ireland. So yeah. Once you can see over the countertop, you can start drinking. I mean, my dad offered me coffee once with Bailey's in it. And I was like, looking around, am I supposed to do this? And he's like, if you're ready for it. I'm like, okay, maybe. I don't know.
I remember because my mother-in-law, her answer to everything for my child's maladies were, oh, just rub a little whiskey on their lip. It should be fine. Yeah, they'd be out like a light, whatever. It's fine. And that's what it did. But hey, it seemed to work. It's fine. Any other cultural observations that you have before we talk a little football and pucks here?
Not too much more that I can think of. I think I was so engaged with the fact that I love how everyone was so hyper focused. And we did ask, we were like, is this just because NFL's in town? And it's like, no, whenever there's sport on that anybody's excited about, it's a whole thing. And if it's not Sunday, so every Sunday shops are shut down. It's just bars and restaurants that are open. But on like major events, if it is a big game, because they have one of the best soccer teams there. I actually grew up watching Bayern Munich, and when they have anything going on, the town shuts down as well. So just very big cultural sports town, or love for sports all throughout Europe, honestly. And I'm loving it.
Did you go to the Hofbrauhaus?
Yes, I did. They didn't have any TV screens, but still everybody singing and drinking. I don't think I've drank this much beer in my life, if I'm being honest.
So they don't have TV screens in the Hofbrauhaus, so they don't watch football there?
No, so there's a place called Dubliner across the way that had so many different screens, and it was 2-story. And then somebody walked in with a jersey other than, I'm almost saying like Bucs or Seahawks, they would make them drink. And then there was this other drink, I keep forgetting the name of it. It was very robust, but they put Bailey's on top of it, and it stayed separated, and you had to throw it back. All these little games if you're not doing what everybody's doing at the moment.
Yeah, they make you drink. I'm all for it. All right, so we kind of look at this football game as a turning point for the Buccaneers. At least I do. It was, to me, you know, it's been leading to it. Brady's attitude, his nonverbal body language, I think, is picked up in the last couple of weeks. We've seen it on the field. Nick Leverett makes a huge difference. Rashad White makes a huge difference. Brady's resurgence makes a huge difference. It seems like this team has turned the corner. Would you agree?
I definitely agree. And it started with seeing the most emotion I've seen all season at the end of that Rams game. Whether you like Leftwich or you don't like him, whether you agree with what's going on at the team, to see him and Brady hug at the end of that game looking like they finally just solved a mystery, that for me was like, okay, maybe the communication lines are going to open again and they're going to stop repeating insanity here and get to a new page. And I feel like you saw that. I didn't love the way the game opened. They had the ball. They didn't really do much with it. But then throughout, you saw the communication, you saw the energy, and that's something that we haven't seen most games. Even week 1 and week 2 when they were doing well, the passion hasn't been there. There's just been too much off the field that it does affect you on the field, whether you want to say it or not.
I don't think there's any question about that. And you heard Russell Gage say weeks ago, they're not having any fun even when they make plays. The energy level has been low. Yeah, I see it as a turnaround. And maybe that atmosphere kind of reminded these guys that football can be fun. Stop making it such drudgery and every down such a big deal. Just go out and play and have some fun. Maybe. What do you think?
And there's only one guy who really says that, Antoine Winfield Jr. Whether they win or they lose, this kid has a giant smile on his face, and he's like, well, I just love playing the game, and I can fix this, I can change that. And I feel like there was a little bit too much pointing fingers after certain losses and stuff rather than just getting back to the drawing board. You loaded up this roster with certain people. You have to be honest about who can actually play and who can't play. Stop wasting time on guys who are 40% healthy. And I think when they started finally incorporating Rachaad White and Cade Otton, they realized, okay, we need to see big picture here. We need to start getting them NFL reps and speed because this is the future of our team. And then we also need to alleviate the guys that aren't ready to play or can't play. Russell Gage playing as long as he did, as banged up as he is, was stupid. He didn't really help at all. Right. He couldn't complete his routes. There was so much that he couldn't do. And then comes the finger pointing game. Was it Brady? Was it Gage? Was it this person, that person? So I feel like they're finally just taking ownership, taking accountability, being a big one. We saw the whole roller coaster with Devin White, and by now how Devin White processes, especially because he's young. So at first it was, well, I was trying to do this and I don't have to explain myself to you, But after that win, it was like, okay, I know that I need to get back to the drawing board of what I was doing in training camp. And it's just like, finally, it was pulling teeth.
Yeah. And health is a major thing as well, right? And we got the return of Antoine Winfield. We're 2 weeks now into the return of Akeem Hicks, and all of a sudden we see the old Bucs defense in regards to stopping the run, right? I mean, imagine that. But the one that caught my eye, and I said this yesterday, I don't know about you, but we see a Bucs receiver wide open, which, caught me off guard because we don't see that often. And I look, and it's Julio Jones. It's Julio Jones, and he looked like he had a rocket strapped to him. I mean, what do you make of that one? I mean, Julio Jones now looks like we finally are seeing some resemblance of a third receiver in this offense.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up because I about lost my head because I couldn't see the jersey number at first. And I was even confused if it was actually Julio Jones contributing to this team again. But he looked good. He didn't look like he was pushing through anything or hesitant to really be explosive in those routes. You can see that Brady was excited to have him back because of the trust and chemistry that they had during training camp. So I would say that also gives this team, I think, this team functions better when they don't feel like the weight is on one person's shoulder, i.e. Mike Evans. Also, speaking of health, to see Chris Godwin progressing game by game by game by game, I think he's the one who led the team in yards versus the Seahawks, even though it wasn't, anything massive, 100 yards or anything like that. It's still good to see everybody get involved and reverting back to those options that were so attractive leading into this season. So on crucial downs, instead of going back to the same guy over and over again, you can pivot to a Julio Jones, a Chris Godwin. Scotty Miller all of a sudden isn't acting like the pressure's killing him anymore. And then getting these running backs who are contributing and allowing them to get a little creative. The biggest thing I would say that I'm not loving about this team is the minute they try something creative and it doesn't work out with perfection, they revert back to old ways, and you're not going to learn it. These guys are going to figure it out if you pull back so quickly on it. There was creative plays that worked versus the Panthers, and then they scared themselves and started doing weird things. And then even with the Falcons. So I think now they're getting more confidence to utilize their options, health being a big factor of it.
Yeah, I just think that realizing who these younger players are and that they're better than older players. And Russell Gage point is a great one. Maybe Devin Tompkins could be a guy that could be used. You don't know because you're watching, this guy's not getting a chance. Neither was Rachaad White. Neither was Cade Otton. Neither was Nick Leverett. And clearly they're better than the guys that were playing. So sometimes this coaching staff baffles me with their player choices.
Endless options.
I mean, why you can't commit to Nick Leverett after what we've seen, and we're still going to Luke Gedeke, Bowles says we're going to evaluate it when he comes back. What the hell is there to evaluate?
Nothing. And the fact that they brought him back into that game when he was injured and took Leverett out to give it another go and to clarify that it wasn't working yet again, it blows my mind. Because I will say I was slightly frustrated to see K. Dotton come in and get 3 receptions. Cameron Brate, I'm so happy he's healthy, but he's not the cleared first string tight end. He can't do what a true tight end does. And that doesn't mean that he's not great. He's great in the capacity of what he can give. K. Dotton made it obvious. K. Dotton can help you with the middle of the field. You need to keep grooming this kid and get him steadily in that role so that you're not only looking at him for 3 receptions, you're looking at him for more like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So that even kind of baffled me a little bit on Sunday, but.
And we kind of brought this point up too on yesterday's show and today's show, kind of relating it to the Lightning here, which obviously you cover as well. The Lightning, things are going wrong to start the season, right? They're not playing their best hockey. And Victor Hedman, I thought this was a great example, gets taken off the first power play because we go 4 or 5 games struggling on the power play, giving up shorthanders. They put Sergachev on the power play and it works, but it's just an example. The Lightning don't waste time. They don't. They have championship aspirations, and even doesn't matter who you are. If you're struggling, you're going to get dropped a little bit. And I think the Bucs, I think they're 2 really good examples. The Bucs need to use the same formula.
Yeah, absolutely. If anything, I don't know if it sounds weird to say this, they might be overly emotional in the wrong places. Protecting these guys' feelings, you're not helping them grow or get any better by keeping them in when it's not helping the team. They need to be pulled because you don't know what that's going to do to their mentality to go into a practice and correct that stuff. And that's why, with the Lightning, Sergachev being a great example, when he moved to that top line and he got more time on ice than Hedman did because Hedman was out. After the fact, I asked him about it. He said, well, that's what I practice. I practice every area of my game so that I can be present for these opportunities. 4 games straight, Sergachev leading on ice time. Hedman comes back. He's still in that top power play unit. They flipped it one time and took it right back. So that elimination process has to be a lot quicker. And maybe with hockey, because they have so many games and they play almost every other night, sometimes they have the mindset to do that, but the Bucs can definitely adapt that. K. Dotton's been your guy. He has showed up. He needs to be in. Rashad White and Leonard Fournette are 2 completely different quarterbacks. Or running backs. I don't care about the drama. I don't care about Leonard Fournette's feelings. I care about Leonard as a person and a player, but you're a different kind of running back. You don't need to be on certain downs with heavier feet and a bigger build than what Rashad White can do. I was glad to see him get over 100 rushing yards finally, because even if he had a mistake or a sloppy down, they give it right back to him.
Yeah, I totally 100% on board with all that. And as we transition a little bit to hockey, I was reading a real interesting article and some quotes from assistant coach Rob Zettler, who said, when talking about getting back to the habits of defense first, he says, you've got to teach the habits every year right from the get-go, and you've got to stay on them. The player's not trying to defy what you're telling them. They're just playing hockey and trying to score goals. But there are some details in defense that are hard, and it takes some discipline to make it happen. It's weird because you think coming off of successful seasons we've had in the past that would be ingrained, but sometimes you just need to go back to step 1 and say, hey, boys, this is where we're stopping. It's literally as simple as that. Sometimes they need to be reminded. I thought that was just really interesting that, even a team that's going to the conference finals 3 times in a row has to be reminded that you got to get back to playing this type of hockey if you want to be a championship team, and blocking shots and being selfless and putting defense first. And I think we're seeing it at times, but not as consistently as is needed. Right?
Yeah. And I think that's a great quote, because I think what a lot of people fail to realize, and you hear it a lot more in hockey than anything else, it's very early in the season. You never see them sweating. Peak point of the season is where it all matters. But why those peaks are so successful is because of the time that the team has together. I think people underestimate what happens in off seasons. People go back to their hometown. They go work out with different people. Well, while they're working on their skill set, they're being fed a different way. They're being gassed up a different way, their skill sets, all these different things. And then they have to go back into a system and see how much of their off season can actually apply to this system, this coaching staff, the players that they're going to be paired up with, the lines that they're going to be on. So that's why timing is really everything. Unless these guys stayed in town with each other and they worked out with their teammates more than, guys from other teams and stuff, that's the best way to describe it. They have to get back to the drawing board and then figure out what that looks like as a team, as a unit, outside of, what they worked on for how many months before that.
Yeah, it's a great point. Kasey Hudson, Pewter Report, also has a great podcast with Kaylee Mizell. Go ahead and tell everybody how they can get your content, Kasey.
Pucks and Bolts with Kaylee Mizell on Odyssey or Odyssey Sports. You can download the Odyssey app and it makes it so easy. And then we also have Jolly Rogers and Touchdowns covering the Bucs. So 2 podcasts with Odyssey, and it's been great. You guys probably see me geek out with the hockey stuff more than anything, but I do love both. I really do.
You guys do a great job. Really appreciate your time, Kasey, and enjoy your trip over there in London
Appreciate
as well.
it.
Great.
Thank you, guys.
Very jealous. Very jealous. All right,
I'll drink a beer for you, JP.
Yeah, please do. Please do. All right, Kasey Hudson, we will bounce from Kasey to our good friend TJ Rives, Bucs sideline guy, who is also just back from Deutschland NFL. What's up, my friend? How are you? Have you regained your time zone difference by now?
Of course, yes. It's Thursday at 9 p.m., isn't it?
Of course.
Or maybe not.
Yes.
Listen, we're all good. It was quite the whirlwind, and it's always better when you go win that game. Of course, we don't know what that's like for the Buccaneers because the previous 3 international games were LLL. But this time, you get it done. It's a history-making win, so good to be back here in the U.S. Good to be back in the Tampa Bay area off of a victory that gets the season now to 5-5, calms some things down. You look better overall on both sides of the ball in that game. So we're all good. I'm here for it. I'm here with you guys. Whatever you like. I know we've got many things that we can discuss about the whole trip, the pep rally that went on Saturday, the atmosphere in that stadium, all of it. So whatever you like, fire away.
Well, we didn't have time to get to your Goodell interview, so you can tell us a little bit about that. That had to be pretty cool, the whole scene there. So give us a little feel for interviewing the commissioner and being down on the field, the fans there 45 minutes, an hour before the game. What a bizarre setting in terms of NFL football here.
Well, I mean, it was almost like a postseason or a Super Bowl type situation. I'll show the audience that's watching us on video if they're able to see with the glare, etc. So there I am at Bayern Munich Stadium. Hopefully you can see that well enough. Kind of that was our vantage point from the broadcast area in the 100 level, and I was obviously down on the field. Little quickie, I put that one up on social media with the commissioner, Roger Goodell. Not every day that you get to talk to him. Dave Moore and I down on the field before the game, and this was 30 minutes before the game, and you can see the verification. Look at the people in the seats behind us.
Incredible.
They were in their seats an hour before this game, probably 90% full, and rocking a half hour before the game. So it was some scene to be down there and to be part of this. Again, this is not an oversell. There were probably 40,000 fans 4 hours before the game that were all around Allianz Arena, the stadium, tailgating, waiting for the gates to open. They opened the gates a couple of hours before the game, about 7:30 our time or about 1:30 Germany time, to let everybody in. You just knew it took on kind of a big game feel right away. And then the Buccaneers played really well through the whole first half, really dominated the first half with a 14-0 start to that football game. So, yes, the Seahawks made a comeback in the fourth quarter, but in the end, all that matters is you're able to get away with a win. The Bucs get away with a win. That's an important win for down the road for winning the division. It's an important win maybe for playoff seeding. It's an important win in a tiebreaker situation with the Seahawks. You take a look at all of those things. Very good Sunday evening in Germany, for sure.
And you said that atmosphere was different. Do you think it energized the Buccaneers in a way that maybe they haven't played with energy and emotion and fun all year long? You know, was there a palpable difference you sense in them, or was it because you feel like they turned the corner in the win against the Rams, or maybe both?
I think it was a little bit of both. I mean, certainly we were there for the Green Bay game, for the Kansas City game off the 2-0 start, and those were jacked atmospheres. Everybody was going bonkers, especially pregame for that Chiefs game and the Super Bowl rematch. But then you got to do positive things. Rashad White fumbles the kickoff. You give up, busted coverages. You give up a touchdown. You give up another touchdown later in the first quarter. They just didn't play well. They were much more on point in this game, whether that's the bouncing off the Rams win. There are several factors. One of them, Akeem Hicks being back in the middle, without question, makes Devin White a more freer player without blockers on him. And that was the Devin White that we have come to see. He became Kenneth Walker's new best friend because every time Walker tried to go laterally, 45 dropped him. over and over again. And to the point that they stopped running the ball. They realized this is the Buccaneer run defense of 2020 and 2021, and we can't run the ball on them.
Great point.
So that was noticeable. Julio Jones' explosiveness, I'll just give you that one. I mean, it was there. I don't know where it's been since the Dallas game with the knee, the swelling, the problems, but when he caught that ball and cut left to right towards the near sideline in the Buccaneer bench, he was running right towards me. That's the most explosive he has looked, maybe even in the Dallas game, more explosive than that. So you energize yourselves with making a couple of those plays, and the sideline was into it. I still can see Donovan Smith in my mind's eye when they were running the ball in the first quarter. He kept looking at the bench, and I don't know how much they showed on it. Yes, showed on the NFL Network the gesture there that you're doing of let's keep doing that. Run that back. Feed the running backs. And one of the things he said to me after the game on the Buccaneers radio broadcast on the postgame interview was we knew that field was slick and you weren't going to have great footing. Let's get them back on their heels with a run game. Push them back off the line of scrimmage with the run game and get that established. They tactically were going into the game believing we can push them back on a slick field here early in the game, and that's what they did.
That's interesting because, I mean, Byron Leftwich, I think, has probably eaten more crow than anybody in this organization this year. Some justified, some maybe not justified, depending on how you feel about that. But I thought in this game, he was relatively pretty good. I mean, you take away the I don't know what you want to call it. I guess Tom called it the Philly special gone wrong on his podcast. I don't even know where to begin on that.
I don't know what the name is for the play, but hopefully they got their fill, tear the page out, and light it on fire on that. I mean, look, so the curious thing, and he revealed some stuff about this. So there's a couple curious things about it. They line up in the Wildcat near midfield. And in the third quarter there, and Fournette takes the snap, and he has that same option apparently to turn and look to Tom Brady or take off and run. And I don't know if they drilled it in his head, at least initially, don't throw it on the first play. Let's see what they do. But Brady revealed, and I didn't see this yet, but he revealed this. He ran down the field on that first play, and they didn't run with him.
No.
So when Fournette ran to the right, Brady was lined up far left, and he kind of jogged down the field, and nobody was there with him. So you know that Pete Carroll and his staff noticed that, and so now we get the second play where Fournette rolls to the right, and as Brady goes down the field, there's a DB there with him. And I know this from having done this enough. JP, you've done it enough, and Nick, you're starting to get involved with this too. That's one of those where they practice it, they work on it, and then they make the instruction clear. If there is anybody over there with him, do not throw the ball, especially when you're rolling on that drive. Do not throw it. And I think he got overexcited. I am confident that they said to him, if there's somebody there, we're not trying Tom Brady as a 45-year-old, not very athletic on running and jumping to go out jump a DB or a safety.
On a field that sucks.
On a field that's not good, and he slipped down, to your point. Just don't throw it. But Fournette got excited. He threw it, and it was a momentum changer in that moment. There's no doubt about that.
That's why everybody, is having a ha-ha moment about it now, and that's great. But for about 5-10 minutes of that game, it flipped because of that play, because they were rolling and maybe they got a little comfortable. I don't know. But in general, to my point, I thought Byron Leftwich had a good game. We saw other things like on a second down, the Bucs love to do what? Throw a screen. What does he do?
What did you not, by the way, in Munich, what did you not see once? What did you not see?
Wide receiver screen once.
Amen.
There you go. But
so there's an adjustment to the adjustment. There you go.
Yeah, they figured Saddle would be expecting it. I remember the 1 second down, and they faked it to Julio, and Chris Godwin and Mike Evans were wide open because you got four guys. So, I mean, just a great game for Byron Leftwich, I thought.
And so that's adjusting to the adjustment. So let's give credit where it's due on that. And I love this. I've done this, and JP, you have too. I've done this on the Buccaneer rehash for 30 years. So you're too predictable. You're doing the same things over and over again. So now you run a wildcat and you have it work for a play, and you run it again and you're trying to run a pass off of it. Everybody wants to kill you for, what are you doing? Why are you doing a crazy thing? Pick a lane. Pick a lane, Buccaneer fan. Which lane are you in on this? Because they were trying to do something different. I am told he completed that pass on Friday and he completed it on Saturday in the stadium, in the FC Allianz Arena, or else they wouldn't have run the play. If they can't watch him complete the pass, they're not going to run the play with him trying to throw the pass. In that, he threw a pretty good pass after his touchdown too in the second quarter, because he came over to the near side and fired the ball over the top of me and over to some Buccaneer fans. So he had a good arm in the first half too. Leonard Fournette.
he was getting warmed up. TJ Rives joining here. I just, that was not the time to call that. I'm all for creativity and running all those things, but that's not the time to call it when you're rolling and the defense is on its heels and you're about to go up 3 scores. We want creativity, but not in that
space.
Not in that context.
Well, and you didn't go to the wide receiver screen as much because you ran the ball effectively on first down and even on second and short converting. So you didn't have to use it as much. And let's say another thing. Nick Leverett played well. I've seen a lot of the coaches' footage that's out there on social media. They were running behind him. They're running behind Hainsey through the middle. Rashad White was doing a good job of being patient and hitting the holes. Fournette hit the holes in the first half. There were holes there, and he hit the holes as well. So they started the game better, and they got the win and got the confidence builder. I'll tell you a couple of other moments that were really neat. The country road moment was really neat. That was not planned, by the way. That was organic. They played the song, and everybody joined in. And from what I'm told, that is played in the fest houses, in the bars and the pubs all over Germany. They sing that song and have a good time with that song. So there that was. And then after the game was over, there were 2 things that struck me. I don't know if this has been anywhere in the media because I haven't seen a lot of the coverage locally or otherwise. Brady came over and got Clyde Christensen, Blaine Gabbert, Ryan Griffin, Kyle Trask, and they went over and took a photo on the field with the ball and had photographers all around him from the media. He had his social media person taking pictures. So it was special to him to get the first ever win in Germany and have that ball. And then the crowd erupted because they saw him in that tunnel going off, and he's waving like the conquering hero to everybody. I mean, what a moment for him to go into the tunnel after all of that happened for him. So you go, some 5,000 plus miles away across the Atlantic and go get a win, and you get to soak it in a little bit. I think one of the quick things, you'd love to be playing a game this week and build on it. You hate the bye week comes now. Yeah, you want to get healthier, but you'd love to go play the Cleveland Browns right now with the way that you're playing and go get a 3rd straight win. And you got to hope that they keep the fire burning figuratively here on the off week and are ready to go in about 13 or 14 days.
You were probably in the locker room already doing interviews, but did you see Maui, Vita Vea, shirtless in about 40-degree weather? Taking pictures with all the German after the game. I was like, that's so Vita Vea right there.
We love that. And I did see him because we were standing outside the locker room and not gone in yet, and he was the last one coming. And he got there just as Todd Bowles was about to talk and have all the stuff. And here he comes without the shirt. I'm like, okay, we have no shirt. We didn't know what we were doing with the jersey or with whatever, but hey, soak it in. It was Julio Jones, I believe that football, if he gave it up, is going to go in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He scored the first ever regular season touchdown in a game in Germany in the NFL for all time. For 50 years from now, God willing, 100 years from now of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, what a moment. So you have some moments to take away from this.
Now, you mentioned Country Road. Greg Ahmed put it up on Twitter today. Would you like to see this become somewhat of a tradition in Raymond James Stadium? I'm like, this would be a great thing, like right before the 4th quarter. We could play that song, and I like it to be almost an ode to Germany, the historic win in Germany. Like, ironically, a John Denver 1970 folk song becoming a German folk song. but that becoming kind of a remembrances of this historic win, and not only historic because it's in Germany, but it could be the turnaround for this season, right? It feels like that type of game that you put it all together. Finally, you put all the bullshit behind you. You went over to Germany, you bonded as a team, you played your best football game, and this was kind of one of those moments that everybody will remember. So let's bring a piece of it home to Raymond James Stadium, and let's get they started it with the song over the PA, right? It wasn't just
correct,
right? So we could, maybe we'll see that. You got some pull.
Okay, we'll see what we can do on that, and
people, right?
Maybe it will become a song. It's kind of famous right now, like in Gainesville, they're playing I Won't Back Down and Tom Petty. That's become the new traditional thing. Or at Wisconsin, they do the Jump Around song at the end of the 3rd quarter. Alabama, they're playing Dixieland Delight. I'll be there in a couple of weeks for the Iron Bowl with Alabama and Auburn. After the 3rd quarter, they're playing that one. So maybe it could become the song. I thought it was interesting twofold, and I believe they showed this on the game broadcast on the NFL Network. That when Sophia, that's her name, she is a big-time music star in Germany. When she sang the German anthem, I don't know how well it translated, the whole stadium was singing that in German. So that let you know how many German fans or German-speaking people were there, because it was blasting everywhere. They could probably hear it in Berlin and other places, even though we were in Munich. So that's interesting that those same people were then 3 hours later, towards the end of the game in the final minutes, singing Country Road, John Denver in English, and swaying back and forth. And it was quite the moment, quite the organic moment there. Go ahead.
The weirdest thing too is, like, I don't know if they showed the German anthem on the TV copy. I don't recall. They did.
yeah.
I must have missed
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
But they did show us the pregame entertainment with the dude with the mask on or whatever.
And he was right by me. I'm standing at the middle of the Buccaneers bench before the game, behind the bench. He's right, and I'm going, who is this dude? Is this the aftermath of Halloween? I can't tell you to this second who that was. I just know there were a lot of people cheering him on in the stadium. I don't know if he's a European rapper. I don't know what language it was, but it was there. It was there as the pregame entertainment for sure.
It wasn't Country Road.
No,
100%.
It was not Country Road. No, we can confirm that.
Hey, so give us a sense for the flight back. What was it? Were guys just so comatose they were sleeping everywhere?
That was some of it, and then I can reveal this. It was definitely cheerful and guys excited about an hour into the flight. It was interesting because we're trying to keep up with the other NFL games while we're flying all Sunday afternoon and Sunday night U.S. time, and trying to figure out what are the other scores. Yes, as you can imagine, there was relief, there was jubilance, and then we're on the plane for 9+ hours trying to get back, trying to get some food, trying to get some rest. So that's a plane ride again that I had not experienced because we had lost the international game the previous 3 times in England to the Patriots and the Bears, and then most recently to the Carolina Panthers. So that was a fun plane ride to get to come back. And now we'll see off the off week. Can they refocus? Can they lock back in? What does that do a week from now for the Cleveland Browns and that matchup? Because now you start a stretch run with very winnable games. Cleveland, the Saints, even though they won this weekend with a backup quarterback, the Cardinals, the Panthers again, very winnable games in the forefront. Yes, you mix in San Francisco and Cincinnati, but you've got a chance to do some damage coming up.
No, I mean, 10-7 is very, very doable at this point. Really, really doable. And I think that'll definitely get you a home game and a division championship. So
9 probably does. You're being ambitious with 10. 10 is 5-2 in the last 7. I'm all for it. I want them to win all 7 of the last 7. 9, I think, wins you the division. I think it's pretty good that you win the division with 9. 10, you're definitely winning the division.
No question.
And if you drive a stake through the Saints, who are floundering and who may be about to go back to Jameis Winston in time for Monday Night Football here, if you can drive a stake through them, you will have a great chance, maybe even with the Cardinal game, or dare we say, or the Panther game the next week, to block up the division, depending on what else is happening. We will see. That's what winning these 2 games has done. You put all of that back into focus now at 5-5.
Huge wins. All right, my friend. I listened to your Bucs podcast. It was tremendous. Well done, well produced.
Thank
on
you.
Your part. So I highly recommend you guys go take some time to listen to that. It really wraps up the whole trip really, really well. So pimp whatever else you got going on, my friend. I know how
again, Buccaneers.com and the Buccaneers mobile app has the Nothing But Bucs podcast. You get all the highlights from Gene and Dave calling them. I've got the post-game interviews with Chris Godwin, with Rashad White that you'll hear, Todd Bowles. You'll hear the interview with Commissioner Roger Goodell, who did say to us they're going to play this Germany international game in either Munich or Frankfurt on a 4-year rotating basis here for the next 4 years after this one. Will the Buccaneers be back there in that? I don't know, in that rotation. It probably won't be for the next couple of years. They'll have new teams come, maybe longer. What do I know? But there's only one first, folks.
Right,
and
baby.
The Buccaneers got the win in the first game. Julio Jones got the first touchdown in this one. So a lot of firsts. Take the win, take being in first place, take the week off, and now we'll see what they can do with the Browns.
All right, my friend. Thank you for your jet-lagged appearance, although you are not jet-lagged at all. Right on top of it, as usual. Appreciate it, my friend. We'll talk next week. Thanks.
Always good to be on FanStream, JB. Donka, boys. Donka. See you later.
JP. All right, we'll take a break, quick break. We're going to do one quick break. We'll come back and wrap things up with a couple other items. We'll preview the Lightning Dallas game tonight, which I will be working as well. So we'll do that when we come back. Quick break. We're brought to you by BAMMC.com and the Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Go to BAMMC.com to get your immune system up. Testosterone replacement therapy, nutrition, weight loss, all there for you at BAMMC.com. Back in 3.
Serena Fazan here for the Gold and Diamond Source. Are you looking for the hottest trends in men's jewelry? Ladies love to see men spice it up with something cool from the Gold and Diamond Source. Whether you're looking for a gold chain, fashion rings, even a pre-owned Rolex watch, or thinking about getting engaged, there's only one place to go. Go see my friends, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Gold and Diamond Source for your one-stop jewelry supercenter. It's never been more important to shop local and support the businesses that support our amazing Tampa Bay community. None better than the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, or online at goldendiamond.com.
Are you concerned your spouse might be cheating or want to locate a long-lost relative or love? Or a missing person and the police are not helping? An insurance adjuster who needs proof of injury. Hi, I'm Rachel D'Antonio from Tampa Bay's premier private investigation agency, Emerging Investigation. We have a proven track record of results. Local attorneys and insurance companies hire us to discover insurance fraud and crucial information in criminal cases. We can help in custody matters, and we devote a tremendous state-of-the-art technology and cutting-edge industry surveillance techniques to get you trusted results. Larger corporate agencies can be more expensive and do not offer the personal level of customer service and interaction that we pride ourselves on. We are a family-owned business. Our professional experience team includes my son, lead investigator Zach D'Antonio, a former collegiate athlete, and my daughter Emily, who leads our in-house investigations team. Don't take matters into your own hands by trying to install snooping programs on phones or GPS trackers. That can cause unneeded stress and give you inaccurate results. Go with the professionals at Emerging Investigations. We have proven results and tremendous testimonials from our satisfied customers. Call for a free consultation and we can discuss how we can help. Peace of mind is as valuable as bad news. Just go to our website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's emerginginv.com. We're Emerging Investigations. We get results in life's biggest matters.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Pure Sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. BAMMC.com. All right, the Bolts and the Stars tonight as we continue with the homestand. Real rematch of the Stanley Cup final from a couple of years ago. The Lightning, of course, coming off a big win, 6-3 on Sunday nights over the Capitals, which was a little bit of a payback win. They get the power play goals from Sergachev. So here comes a very good Dallas team that has been under Pete DeBoer now playing much better. They're more explosive. They've got a lot of really good young players and some good older players too. Just a team that's will give us everything we can handle. They beat the Flyers in Philly the other night 5-1. Embarrassed them.
It starts in between the pipes for Dallas. One of the best young goalies in the league. Get to know him, Jake Ottinger. He's fantastic. He's the Vezina leader right now, leading the league in goals against and save percentage. So it's going to be tough for the Lightning Night to score. But, they're coming off a game in which I thought was, you could argue, maybe their best of the year, to be honest with you, at times during that game. And giving up 3 goals, you don't want that. But that first period was fantastic. So coming in here with some momentum, you like to think. But, yeah, Dallas is no joke. And they made Torts the other day go into one of his tirades a little bit after the game. So
there you go.
There you go.
Yeah. So, tonight, 7:00 puck drop. And I think this was going on Bally's. I think we get a little bit more Bally's now as we get into the meat part of the season. But get there tonight. Like I said yesterday, lots of good seats available. I know they sell out every night technically, but there's good seats available. You can get them at the box office. You can get them online. There's third deck seats, which you go to all the time, are excellent. They're much cheaper. So highly recommend that.
And as we said,
get in your seats early, like they do it over in Germany.
Yeah.
We put on a great show before the game. You can go, warm-ups are such a cool thing in hockey. You can go down on the glass if you want to. They'll let you go down there and you can get up close and personal. People put signs up. They get pucks. There's a great atmosphere. We're doing pregame shows and all kinds of fun stuff before the game. So you pay for your ticket. Why not get there early and experience all that there is to experience?
And as we were saying in between the break here, request for the DJ to put on Country Roads tonight.
I think that's going to happen.
It needs to happen tonight.
I think it'll happen tonight. Maybe right before we go into the third period, and we'll see if the fans sing it. That would be a cool moment.
I can tell you a few songs
really
that you can swap it out with. That I'm about done. I'm about worn my welcome here.
Which ones would they be?
We already talked about Sweet Caroline, and we don't. Y'all don't even really play that much over there.
No, now the Palat's
gone.
Yeah, that was his goal song.
Tequila. I can't do it anymore.
Tequila.
Retire.
Okay.
Retire it, please.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some that, some old school stuff that could go.
It's just a bunch of 40 to 50-year-old people. Tequila.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah, I mean, Country Road's old too, but it's got a little nice.
It's a little different.
It's got a little vibe to it. So we'll see. I'll make a request to the DJ. We'll see what happens. All right, that'll do it for today. Our thanks to Kasey Hudson, who joined us from London today. TJ Rives, who joined us from Lutz today, from Germany. So we appreciate them jumping in here. Tomorrow, Scott Reynolds is going to join us. He had to postpone today, so we'll chat with him tomorrow. We might have Dave Randorf as well to talk some Bolts. So big show tomorrow. Join us for that. Have a great night, everybody, and let's go Bolts.